Thanks everyone for joining tonight on Friday Night Live.
We're on, aren't
We're on. You got the old crap to talk about?
we? I haven't got the old shit
You got some new shit to talk about. For those guys who don't know, Trent has been off for a couple of days this week because his knee's blown up.
It's only one, really. You got another.
I was here for
one.
nearly half the day on.
I don't know what he
on
blamed
Wednesday.
about. He's got two on.
You were here on Wednesday, weren't you?
Yeah, he was here
No,
Wednesday.
I wasn't here.
Wednesday morning.
Yeah, Wednesday I was here for nearly half the day. I wasn't supposed to be here. But, you know, company guy that I am.
Yeah.
So, I didn't plug in the microphone. That's fine. The microphone on the phone will be doing alright.
You reckon?
Except the printer's going, so.
Well, somebody will be complaining about that soon.
Something. Yeah. So a lot of barrel manufacturers lately have gone to putting the actual lugs in the back of the barrel. And there's a few reasons for this. It means you can set the headspace up more consistently because you're not worrying about an extra set of tolerances there. It also means you can have a switch barrel gun and with an easier setup for that. So my Merkel has the lugs in the back of the barrel, for example. A lot of European guns have the lugs in the back of the barrel. It also means if you've got the lugs in the barrel, the action itself is just a carrier for all the bits. It doesn't actually take any of the load itself. And so you can have a lightweight aluminium action and have a stronger a stronger barrel, you know, like having it like up there. So there's a few reasons for it happening. Not everyone's doing it. Other guys are using inserts in the action like Lithgow and whatnot to lock their guns up. But Sauers the barrels lock up in the back of the action. And part of the reason for that is that you can take the barrels out in and out quite quickly. There's two Allen keys that hold the barrel in. But what it means is that once your barrel is worn out, what do? So we told a guy, as is common around here, someone's asked us, can you rebarrel a Sauer? And we've gone, fuck yeah, we can do that. Without really knowing what that entails. Like, it's sort of a go-to response about here. We can do it, you know, like we can work it out. If it can be done, we can do it. And so Bill said that he could do it, and then he's worked out that the lugs are in the back of the barrel. And so what did we do, Bill?
The thing, I'll get a tool, special tool as well.
He's going to get you a special tool. And for those people who are clever enough to pick it, you should already be able to see what Bill's done. Oh, did you have to line the rifling up with that or something?
Yeah, that's what
Like cut the barrel in half and then line the rifling up. And
No, Sauer and their wisdom have got a forged action body and a two-piece stock. You can see the fore end is separate to the rear stock. So
and there's merit in that, but there is some merit in it.
Oh yeah,
it's like
it's
strong and
not a down thing, that's for sure. They're beautifully made, but if you wonder why the expense is in these guns, it's because of the amount of setups they've got to do to actually make that action. It's one piece, the magazine body, or the magazine box that the magazine fits into, the action body, all one piece. But to get it apart, you need this. And now this goes in here, and you undo
it's just an Allen key.
it's only an Allen key, but it's a long,
It's a long Allen key.
yeah, it's a long Allen key, for a reason. It doesn't have
You
to
could have
be
just
this
used
long.
one of your bloody extensions, couldn't you?
I could have done, and that's what I did to get it apart. Then I had to work out how the bloody fore end came off.
Okay. How does the fore end come off?
I went to Mr. Google, right, and
It's
what
the
you
fucking sling swivel, isn't it?
You take the sling swivel out, and there's a hole there.
Oh, and you needed. Why wouldn't they just make the thing that long so you could just put a tool on it? No, you've got to have a special tool.
And Sauer can sell you that tool.
Oh, can they?
Yeah, they're good at that.
Yeah, beautiful.
Anyway, yeah, right down deep in here, is a socket-headed Allen screw that holds the forend actually holds it onto the key that aligns the barrel, makes sure the barrel line is lined up in exactly the right spot so that the rifling lugs fit perfectly. But anyway, that's what you need to get the forend off.
So you got the forend off, and then you work out you're in the shit because you can't just replace the barrel.
Yeah, you look at it and say, oh, there's 3 screws there clamping the barrel in, so easy to get the barrel out. And then we decided, well, did a lot of measuring and decided that we could use the stub of the old barrel. We cut it off at about 75 mil because it comes right back into the action. We cut that off and bored it and threaded it.
What thread size? No, that's proprietary. Fuck them. Yeah?
Yeah. Someone else might want to do it. They'll have to work it out themselves.
They can figure it out themselves, yeah.
Anyway,
we threaded it, and then you screwed the new barrel into the adapter piece that we'd made.
That's right.
And headspaced it.
Headspaced it on that shoulder, and I made sure that the barrel actually ended up fractionally bigger in diameter than the adapter that we made, so that when I finished headspacing it, I could then profile the barrel into the adapter so that
it looks good. It's nicely profiled.
Yeah.
We could have made a wave, and you could make like a wavy thing, so it keys into it and everything.
You reckon?
No, it wouldn't work.
No. But anyway, it's turned out very nice.
In 308?
It's in 308.
Is the barrel the same profile? Slightly heavier?
Only very marginally if it is, because the forend fits on nicely and is just a fraction of movement at the forend tip. So, yeah.
But now he's got a stainless steel aftermarket match hand lap barrel.
With a match chamber in it as well.
Yeah, that's M852 chamber.
Yeah, we used a match reamer to cut the chamber.
Is that the safety? The fucking is.
Yeah, it is.
We push it down there and then up there.
Yeah.
Lol.
Yeah, mate, not bad, eh?
Do you want a closer look?
Yes.
I'll push the cord in down.
Yeah. So you can see the join between the old barrel, which is now the adapter, and the new stainless steel barrel.
And the reason it's nice and delineated is because I went and put in the blue tank and re-blued this part, and of course being stainless it didn't blue that, so we'll get that ceracoated later. But it just shows up the adapter.
Oh, the client wants the whole thing black.
I think he does. He wants to shoot it, but I think. But
I'd leave it how it is. I reckon it looks good.
I reckon it does too, but anyway.
I think it really, accentuates that this is different. This isn't your standard Sauer.
No, that's right. So.
It's kind of like a sweet and sour.
Yeah.
It's a fucking dad joke, isn't it? So, yeah.
We're the only non-dad here.
It turned out very nice. I'm very happy with it.
What did you do with that gun that you were photographer?
Oh, it's just on a chair in there. I didn't know that you wanted it. I'll go grab it for you.
So that's new. No, I'll grab it.
Okay.
Yeah, quite a nice gun. It's as we say in the trade, it's a fat bolt design with not unlike Omar
or Anschutz,
or
because it's a double row.
Yeah,
so
double
like
row, but or Lisco or Ruger American. A lot of firearm manufacturers are using this system now with what they call fat bolt, with a bolt guide, separate bolt guide. And the lugs are milled into the end of the bolt, and they're the same diameter as the bolt body. They're a few thousand smaller, so they clear nicely when you're running the bolt back.
Yeah, the bolt's nice and smooth and raceway.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Sauer. Like a Sauer.
Like a Sauer, yeah.
Yeah, like a Sauer.
But it is.
Not exactly the same.
Quite a nice gun. reasonably impressed with that. It doesn't look unlike the way the wood is fitted. It doesn't look unlike your Merkel.
Yeah, yeah.
Except your Merkel, the wood comes off the barrel, doesn't it?
You just push a button and it comes off.
Yeah. Very nice.
You
Anyway.
don't have to have Mr. Sauer's special tool.
This one you gotta make it a fucking tool.
Well, that's not Mr. Sauer's special tool, that's Bill's special tool now.
Well, make sure you custom
You
engrave.
sure?
Sauer.
It looks exactly like the sort of thing that would come out of Sauer, doesn't it?
You reckon?
No, it looks like shit. Like fucking.
Oh,
You could have. Oh, I don't know.
I could have.
You could have just got a piece of rod and just turned a hex on it.
No, I could have done. I thought of that, and then I thought, no, fuck that. I'll get a bloody old Allen key, cut the end off it, weld it to the.
I wouldn't have even used an
With a
old Allen
6mm.
key. I would have taken one of his Allen keys.
Yeah.
Out of the red
Should have done
bag.
that, shouldn't I?
Yeah. And just been a right dickhead about it too.
But put the handle of the old Allen key back so it sits just out of the case, like it looks like it's there.
Yeah.
He goes to get it, and it's just.
Yeah, that took me all of about 16 and a half minutes to make, I think.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, all about Thursday.
I don't know why that.
And this is one that I've just finished. So this is a 6.5 Creedmoor, as you can see written on the other side, on a Hauer. So it was a factory rifle, but we put a heavy 1 in 7 twist barrel in it for the big long, like 157s or 53s. And yeah, nice true up and the action. And then set it into an MDT XRS. So still got a pick rail to go on it, which you guys have got tucked away somewhere apparently. And for the scope. Once the scope's on, it'll balance better. It's a little bit front heavy. But this one's fitted with a tactical style brake like yours. So it's got a flush threaded cap on the front, which comes off for a tunable
Yeah,
muzzle.
let's have a look at that, because I didn't even see that when I was getting photos, that you got to.
Well, that's the plan.
He's good at blending them.
Oh, well, I should have given you the muzzle brake photograph.
Yeah, I mean, I've turned everything off and backed it up now.
No, that's fine. But that's the... So it just looks like a standard 11-degree crown. You can see a line there. But that's with a flush cap.
Yeah.
So when you take the muzzle brake off, you can put the cap on and it doesn't look like it's threaded. It looks normal. But it has got a tunable muzzle brake like the Trent. So it's a tactical style tunable muzzle brake. But what I've worked out is that I can't just make one of those muzzle brakes for
Like the shelf.
for the shelf. Yeah, I have to really make them bespoke. Otherwise, they end up looking like that one that's on that 6.5, which looks like shit. Which I've been meaning to take off actually.
I actually don't mind that one either, but
I don't like it. It's fucking shit.
I think it just looks like a brake, you know?
So because your barrel is a 1-inch barrel, yeah, and so I can make the muzzle brake 30mm in diameter.
Yep.
With the lug and everything. But if I made one that was 30mm in diameter for this, it'll look weird.
Yep.
So I scaled everything down a little bit. So the muzzle brake's only 28mm.
Yep.
You know, so it's a better profile.
Yeah, fits up a bit nicer, makes it look like it's meant to be there.
Yeah.
Rather than just a tacky add-on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the benefits of doing something bespoke, mate.
Bespoke. I love that word, bespoke.
Because I've just had a muzzle brake rock up from China or wherever it was, and it doesn't look that flash, but I'll fit it up to a client's gun and it'll work well, and it was relatively cheap. By the time it's fitted, it's only going to be like $400 maybe. Whereas something bespoke's sort of $500 to $600.
I was going to say, but when you think about it, normally, you know, our normal brake that you make, our round or flat style brake is only $495 fitted.
Yeah, but there's still a
it's
$120.
Still $100, but
Yeah,
you know,
it depends what people want.
yeah, that's true.
You know. Also, that client wanted a brake that looked like the one that he had seen.
Of course.
And if I was to make that one, it would cost him another $100, you know,
Yeah.
because it's not something that I do normally. So I do charge extra for it because I've got to do all new
Yeah, you got an old
setups and
put a whole
shit.
new program into the CNC and all that sort of stuff.
So yeah, so he's saving a couple $100.
Yeah.
But it depends what you want, you know, if you want something off the shelf, if you're happy with something off the shelf, or if you're happy with...
Well, that's one thing to keep in mind. You know, you buy a muzzle brake off the shelf, more than likely it's not going to time up.
No, well that's the thing. That brake that came, you can get it with a grub screw, so you just do it up till it almost comes up to time, and then you do a grub screw up, which is
Yeah, I don't
you don't really want to do that.
Yeah, you just leave a big gap then.
Or it comes with crush washers.
Yeah,
But you're assuming that the crush washers are going to.
fix the problem.
Yeah.
And that you don't
May
over
not.
crush them.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you over crush them,
Well, the
it's
crush
still-
washers may, you put a crush washer in there, and it may not come anywhere near up to time. Like you will never get the washer
crushed
to
enough.
crush up to. Yeah.
So I mean that's one of the benefits of getting one built. Whether it's a bespoke or whether it's one of our factory.
Get the bin.
I'm going to say our factory ones. They're not really a factory one, but being that Zaine will take it out the back, he'll make sure that it fits up, times up, and finished the way you want it.
I'm still working on a design though for all you guys who used to play Counter Strike back in the day. The M4 in Counter Strike had a silencer which went clink, and it just dropped on and went click, and it was on, and then you went click, and it came off.
Yeah.
I still want to build one like that. That just drops on and goes click,
Did you just use your
Muzzle
mouse to
brake.
do that?
and then click. What?
Did you just use your mouse to do that?
Yeah, you do it on Counter Strike. I'm talking IRL though. I
Oh,
want to sort of manifest that in the
Alright.
real world.
for
Because
those
those
of you
guys
that
isn't
don't know,
allowed to have, which is most of us, aren't allowed to have silencers.
Yeah.
But we can have a muzzle brake that goes.
that replicates it.
And then when they suck at Warra, you can just go fine.
Yeah.
It comes off really cool.
Let me
And
take
everyone
off
goes,
my muzzle brake / silencer.
So you probably would make like a custom muzzle nut with a lock,
Yeah,
with like
yeah,
a with like a
interrupt the thread,
yeah, drop the thread,
with a-
yeah.
with a tune, like with like a tapered pilot, so it centers itself.
Mm.
That'd be pretty cool. Could be cool.
It would be awesome, yeah.
I could do a tapered thread. And then all the boys that do drilling, like the drill stems have got tapered threads on them, they'll be like, oh, it's just like at work. Well, the guys that do drilling, like, they're probably sick of being at work. So.
Nah, but they wouldn't even know. They'd be like,
Drilling, good. They wrap a bit of
Hey,
chain around it to try and get it undone.
hey Aiden.
What do we take?
I'm a driller. Aiden. Aiden.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. He's watching. He was watching before.
Okay. Hey,
We'll have to see whether he's still watching. I probably just
we're talking about making a muzzle brake with a tapered thread for a drill stem, like a drill stem.
I don't think it'll work.
Why wouldn't it work? Works on drill stems.
Yeah, how would you time it up?
Well, that's someone else's problem.
Oh,
No, you lock it up, and then so you lock it up on the gun, mark it, and then mill it,
oh,
so it's on time.
Could you have, like our self-timing ones, where you got a left-hand locking load, but you then have an oversized brake that fits over the whole assembly so you don't see the gap?
Yeah, that would shield it. Yeah.
Hey, Aiden, he's watching now. He would have caught on.
What else is new, Trent? What's new
well-
on as far as the product side of things go?
What's new? Steiner's coming out with a
Thermal, which we saw the other day.
That was pretty cool.
It has a big ass chip in it, yeah. So the quality of the image in it is actually outstanding.
It was very, very, very clear.
Yes.
It was actually amazingly clear.
Well,
You could read.
It's going to retail for about $6 grand, but yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I'll have to double check. They're not out yet, but made by Steiner.
I was always going to be top of the line, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right. So, Steiner don't fuck around. They make nice stuff.
so it's like almost a micro four thirds
And I have
size.
heard that it's going to come in a couple of different things. So this one that we had was just a handheld monocular, but apparently they're going to do a clip-on and an actual rifle scope as well, all with the same technology. So that'll be interesting to see what that comes out and looks like.
And I've said it before, this is the way the market's going, you know?
Thermal. It's
Even just a monocular. They're so handy to have.
yeah.
Like, people don't realise how handy they are. And there's going to be people out there that's going to be like, I don't want to hunt with a thermal, it's too easy.
Back in the day, I just used to use one candle and a reflector. And
I used
it was
to
all
sniff
on
them out. I didn't even use dogs. I just fucking
I'd
fucks
take,
over there.
I'd take my rifle, but wouldn't take any bullets. That's how good I
Then
am.
you sneak up.
It's a
on it.
bayonet.
Yeah, and I just stab. So, no, it's the way to do it. If you want to go hunting, be successful, have a pretty wife, big house, fast car, you need a thermal. It's just how it works. Just point it out there.
So, what's the O-ring on your finger? You got to remember to do the seals in the bloody.
That is my
in the
silicon.
and the axles on your.
That is my silicon wedding ring.
Nice.
So instead of wearing a.
Why are you wearing a wedding ring all of a sudden? Because I've never seen you wear the wedding ring on.
No, because
You are married.
I am. I've been married for.
But Steph's worried you're going to go out and pick up bitches or something. Is that what it is?
Probably. I mean, with this, bucket of good looks, it's quite clear that women throw themselves at me on a day-to-day
I'm
basis.
sure there's some smashed pie looking fucking thing out there that would I'd love to pick you up.
No, so I
after
always
she's done her meth run.
when we got married, I always told Steph that I would wear a wedding ring. The wedding ring that we got is too big. It fits my finger fine, but it's too thick. It's too thick, and it doesn't allow me.
Okay.
And I've only got dainty little
Little
hands.
baby hands.
Yeah, and when I close my fingers, it keeps my fingers like that,
Uh-huh.
and I don't like it.
Actually, mine does that as well.
Yeah, so I don't like it. I used to wear it on a necklace, but I used to get afraid that it would get caught in engine bays and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Nick said that when we got married.
Yep.
That I had my wedding ring, and I said, look, I'm not going to wear it because it's just too dangerous.
Yeah.
And I was going to wear it on a necklace, but the necklace that I had broke. It would have hung out too much.
Yeah.
I think Nick mentioned about her wearing it on a necklace.
Oh, yeah. Well then, yeah. So it was my wedding anniversary on Wednesday.
Congratulations. How long have you been married?
8 years. 8 years. And Steph had actually ordered one of those for me. And since it's something that you wear, isn't it? So
Yeah.
she wears mine that I put on her, so I'll wear she put on me.
I've been married for 5 years now. 5?
Well,
5.
It is, because that's how long I've been working here, and I started just after you were working.
Yeah, okay. Well, there you go.
There's rookie numbers.
So in my kitchen,
Boy, what's your car?
in my kitchen, there's a fuck off big picture of me and Nick's wedding day and everything, and the date is written on it, and both of us forgot.
And you still can't remember.
Yeah. So what I'm going to need you to do from now on is every year you need to say, I've been working here for 6 years next week to remind me to then buy something for Nick
Oh, okay, is that what it is?
for our anniversary.
So not only do I have to remind you of everything else that you do at work,
Yeah.
I've now got to remind you what to do at home.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And we're talking about special dates. Trent turns 40 in a couple of weeks.
Nah, it's not even a couple of weeks. It's next week.
Is it?
Saturday next week. When I'm not at work.
Oh, am I going to have to work?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be drunk still. So, yeah.
Good times.
Yes. This is something that they should teach at school, I reckon.
What's that?
Getting old. Yeah, they do all this crap about, English and maths and stuff like that. But what they forget to tell you is that the older you get sore for no reason.
Oh, there's a good reason for it, why you're getting sore, why your knee's getting sore.
My knee isn't getting sore, my knee is sore.
Your knee's fucked.
It is fucked. I actually had an MRI the other day, or yesterday, so we'll find out what's wrong with it. I actually said it's from carrying the entire shop for 5 years.
MRI, which one's that's magnetic?
Magnetic
Resonance imaging.
resonance imaging.
Is
See, I don't even need your help.
magnetic resonance imaging.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what does that look at though?
Your knee.
Yeah, but what part? Obviously they're using.
Whatever part of you put in it.
Obviously, like they're not using an ultrasound because that's for finding like ligaments and babies and shit. Which I'm surprised they didn't put that on you as well, just to make sure.
Oh, they know there's no baby in there. Hey?
But they
Use
look.
ultrasound for looking inside you. Doesn't matter whether you're a man
Yep.
or a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had it done on my shoulder when I
Yeah.
broke my shoulder. To watching all my ligaments and shit.
What did you break your shoulder doing?
Car accident.
That's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, not funny at all.
I'm going to say jacking off.
No. Had been armed in cars for 3 months though, so that was
That's very
fucking-
aggressive.
That was
Very aggressive hentai video.
it's all crunchy now. That's all. Oh, the covers all fucking stuck together.
But I was telling Trent that we should get you to make him a new knee joint on the CNC.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Make one that
Here
goes
we go.
backwards, like a dog.
I've got a big sharp knife we could get in there, you know?
One that's like, we'll get you two, you'd be like Pretorius, whatever the dude that shot his missus in
Oscar
the fucking
Pistorius.
bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that
Poor
go
bastard.
backwards with the flippers and shit.
He jumps up on the stand, says that, you know, his whole thing, and didn't realise that he didn't have a leg to stand on.
Another dead joke.
Cha-ching! That's gold!
Weak as piss.
Good,
And
isn't it?
twice as salty.
Yeah, go.
Old Blade Runner. If you're watching from prison,
Yeah.
say hello to Zuma for us.
They're probably not in the same prison, but
They might.
Zoom's probably in house prison. They're probably not alive.
They got him out already.
For those who remember, India is back a couple of days a week. She's now mother and whatnot, but obviously she wants to get rid of that snot-nosed little thing.
Yep.
As all mothers do, a couple of days a week. So he's meeting and greeting mates at daycare, and she's going to come in and.
Yep, so she's going to be on the front counter Wednesdays and Fridays at this point. So come in and say good day, and be gentle. She hasn't been working here for what, 5 years?
Get into it.
No, she's doing really well. She had her first day today and she absolutely killed it. So
Yeah, fell back into it.
yeah, so
Easy.
doing applications and all sorts she was.
Yeah.
So it's not like
It's good to have her back.
Yeah, but yeah, come in and say good day to her. She's catching up with her product knowledge. Obviously, a lot's changed over the last 5 years.
So come in and ask her for really weird shit.
sure.
Yeah. So she has to look it up and whatnot and get pricing for you.
She'll absolutely love it. It'll be awesome. What else we got?
I don't know. What else do you want to talk about? Because the other thing I want to talk about is Northline.
Yeah, well, I didn't read the email, so...
I read the email. It's a little bit vague, but the basic message behind it is that you would have heard that TNT's pulled out from transporting firearms.
So all firearms, all ammunition...
because they got bought out by FedEx, and that's FedEx's...
bread and butter in America. No, it's their military contract in America.
Yeah, but their policy is that for the domestic recreational markets...
They won't ship it.
That they don't move product.
Yep.
And so, because they got bought out, TNT got bought out by them, that policy has now flowed down into Australia, and TNT aren't moving shit.
Yeah.
Which
last week, that was our main concern. We were sitting there talking about, you know, where do we think that's going to go? And of course, Northline was...
Well, TNT haven't moved anything for us for a long time anyway.
No, not for
But that was for our wholesalers. But now they pulled their wholesale accounts and everything. And now, and I mentioned at the time that everything's going to be centralised now at Northline. Well, now we get an email today that Northline are also pulling out from working for,
with dealers,
with shop fronts, retailers, specifically. So they'll still work for Naya, Winchester, Beretta, the big guys, in pallet lots, and they're saying it's compliance based, and that's because their compliance for Northline is, you know, they can assure that. But if they use any on-forwarders, freight forwarders or anything like that, it's very hard for them to be compliant the whole journey. And it's also very hard for them to be compliant in singular parcels. It's much easier if you've got a whole pallet. You know, it's also a lot more cost, you know, not cost prohibitive to work with pallet loads of goods. That's the argument. That's the gist of the argument that I got from the email. And it is what it is. But there's a lot more questions associated to that, which I've got to email Jamie. I forgot about doing it today. We've still got a lot of questions. But if it turns out to be exactly what it is, basically what it's going to mean is that getting freight from the east, like firearms couriered to WA, unless it's coming from one of the big wholesalers, so unless you're buying a new gun off the shelf, if you're buying second-hand guns and that sort of stuff, it's going to be exceedingly difficult to get those across the country, and it's going to be impossible to get a gun out of WA. Yep. Once a gun's in WA, we have no way of getting it out of the state at all.
So keep that in mind. If you do have a firearm up on used guns or Oz gun sales, whatever it is.
And it's from the end of the month, okay?
That you have very little time now to move it. I guess we got, you said to the end of the month, so we've got that little bit of grace.
30th, the policy's from the 30th.
Yeah.
Now they may, like a week out from there, they might say, look, we're not taking it because the new policy's coming in. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's the general gist of it. And like I said, we're going to try and bring more information to you as we find out. But I want to speak to Northline about it. You know, I don't want to talk to other industry members or anyone who thinks they know what they're talking about. I want to talk to Northline. I don't want to talk out of turn too much. But it'll be huge for the industry. It'll be a huge.
It'll definitely be a good setback.
Yep. It'll be a huge step for WA because it means that it immediately cuts off any chance we have of selling a firearm in the East.
Yeah, so and that doesn't mean as much to you. Like, obviously, if I build a gun and I can't sell it in the East, and I can't do any repairs for anyone in the East either, no one can send me a gun because I can't get it back to them. So, you know, over East, they can still legally use Australia Post to move firearms, which is the sensible way to do it. But in WA, we don't have that. We can't do that because the police prohibited it. So
we can move firearms within WA.
No, you can't even really do that. You know that. The fucking system they've got is shit. It doesn't work.
It does not work.
So
true. We sent about 3 weeks ago. We sent a rifle to Kununurra, and someone made a tiny little mistake on the paperwork.
And it wasn't us either.
No, it wasn't us.
It was the staff at the post office.
Yeah. Anyway, the rifle got to Kununurra at the post office, and where it's got to be, the person at the other end has to go into the post office, identify themselves with proper ID, and then they get the firearm. Well, apparently, because it was a mistake made at this end, the gun is on its way back.
Okay.
And we'll have to go through the whole process again and send it back to Kununurra for a second time.
I don't understand. That just exposes it. Now, their ultimate goal was to prevent firearms from being exposed for as long as, or for as short as possible time,
Right.
to the transport side of it,
Yeah.
to keep them safe from criminals who would want to steal it. Yet this system that they put in place, where the gun bounces backwards and forwards across the state, because of a couple of letters here or a couple of fucking numbers there, bullshit. Leave it where it is. Let's fix it down here so that they can pick it up. Does it really have to come back to go again?
No, it doesn't really.
You know, it's fucking ridiculous.
The problem is that because everyone's so risk adverse at the moment, overly risk adverse, you know what I'm saying? And people will say you can't be too risk adverse with firearms. Well, you can. So there must be a limit to it. Because people are risk averse, no one's willing to sign off and say that, even though it's addressed from us to this person, no one's going to sign off and just give it to them because there is an error on the form.
And I'm not saying
that doesn't matter, but there's an error on the form.
I'm not saying they have to give it to them, but surely they don't have to send the gun all the way back to us. And for those playing at home, it's friggin' air rifles, so it doesn't really fucking matter. You know, send it all the way back down. What's Kununurra?
Well, they don't know. It's an error.
2200 Ks?
I don't know, it's as far as you can go in WA anyway without ending up in the Timor Sea.
So let's say 2200 Ks. And for those that playing at home, correct me if I'm wrong. So it's gone up there once. Oh no, there's a mistake. Let's send it all the way back to fix the mistake to send it all the way back again.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time this has happened.
It's not.
It's all the time. It's a system that was put in place. It was a system designed by Australia Post to be a racehorse, and we got a camel. Yeah, it's got 4 legs. You can put a saddle on it and race it, but it's not a fucking horse, you know. And no one really wants to use it because it's expensive, and it's only for freight inside the state. It's a pain in the ass. So anyway, the freight issues are going to be a big issue. We'll talk about it more next week once I've had a chance to.
One of the things I was saying today to Craig at Alexander's was there's 330 dealers in WA, but we can't send a parcel to 330 dealers, any one of those 330 dealers, because there's only a few that are registered to actually take part in this system.
Yeah, so both people have to be registered. You have to be registered to send it, and you have to send it to someone who's registered to receive it.
Yeah.
And it's only from certain post offices to other certain post offices.
And not only that, not only are you either registered as a sender or a receiver, you actually have to be registered as both if you choose to use that system for both. So if we only registered as a sender, we could only send firearms to receivers. We couldn't receive a firearm from someone because we weren't registered as a receiver.
It's a wonderful system.
We might have other opportunities in the future. I've got to make more phone calls next week. It will almost certainly become much more expensive though, the service.
Yeah,
Regardless of how we fix this, it's going to be much more expensive. What we might have to do is put up a, what do you call it, like a crowd fund, buy Bill a 3-ton so he can fucking drive across the Nullarbor once a week and make deliveries to...
Well, the other side that I'm actually waiting to find out is how much, if any, is our normal freight going to cost? You know, is that going to go up? So are we going to see an increase in cost of ammunition and firearms from the big suppliers because they've had to move to a different freight company?
Well, this is the thing, like at the moment, they have freight-free policies in place. So for the bigger dealers like us, we don't typically pay a lot of freight.
You'd be surprised. You know, there's only a couple that offer that freight free. Everybody else we pay freight on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I'm not going to throw names out there, but...
Yeah, we'll talk about it later because I didn't know that was the case.
So we actually do pay freight on quite a bit of stuff that has to be accounted for. You know, and it's why I don't often try and order one pack of ammo. Or
you have to try and mitigate that cost.
Yeah, that's right. So,
yeah, okay, all right. Well, then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But a vast majority of our stuff we know comes from NIA, and NIA do have a freight-free policy.
They do.
So
They do.
now, whether that's going to continue after the changes in freight pricing, that's yet to see.
That's it.
So,
And it depends on how much they're getting charged as to whether they're going to wear that cost or not.
And one of the other things I noticed is that in what Jamie was saying is that we might have to go to North Line's depot and pick up their freight.
if they don't have anyone to deliver it.
Yeah, if they haven't got a authorised, certified
a North Line truck to deliver it here. Surely they would have one though.
You would think they'd have a truck.
They probably wouldn't have one to deliver it to wherever out of the city.
No.
But a lot of those guys are organising their own freight anyway.
Yeah, fuck. It's an absolute bloody cock up right from the start when the police wouldn't give us any stats on how many guns were going missing and how dangerous it was and how.
No, this wasn't a planned event. Like there was no risk assessments or anything associated with any of this. It was just done on the whim of certain personalities. But and it's indirect. Like for all their quoting of the National Firearms Act, this is in direct contrast to the National Firearms Act.
Absolutely.
So the wording within the National Firearms Act certainly enshrines the safest way to move firearms around the state is anonymity within the postage system. So that way you're just sending brown parcels like any other brown parcel, and that way, you know, and you can still track them with with registered post and stuff. So but it's not identifying it. So this whole policy is in direct contrast to that, and as a result, we've ended up in a position where there's going to be a huge number of firearms built up in Western Australia, second-hand firearms and stuff, because you're not going to be able to sell them over east. You're not going to be able to, I don't know how we're going to go getting them back if you've got a warranty issue, for example. How are we going to get it back to the manufacturers? And yeah, so there's going to be huge implications that we've only had a few hours to think about this. There's going to be wide implications to this policy change, but hopefully we can mitigate it. I mean, if the issue with North Line is that sending singular parcels and whatnot is an issue, then maybe we can consolidate orders over several months into one consolidated order and then send it to a dealer that they can deliver to in a metro area in a major city over east. Might mean there's some delays associated with it, but we can get firearms to say, and I'm not going to put a name out there, but we're just going to say a dealer in Sydney, and then that dealer in Sydney can then distribute parcels from there in the postage
Because
system.
he can post them, yeah.
Because you can stick them in the post, yeah. And then if you've bought or sold a gun from, from Queensland or Victoria or something, it can get to that dealer, a consolidated order gets brought to us, or we consolidate an order, send it to that dealer, and then that dealer sends them out from there. So maybe there's some way we can get around this, that we can make it work for Northline and for Beacon Firearms and for our clients, and we can make it fiscally doable, not prohibitive.
Maybe we should just set up a franchise in Sydney.
Yeah, well that's it. We'll just open a shop. It can just be an office.
Yeah.
Just an office.
Fuck wants to live in Sydney.
No one at the moment. Not even Sydney people want to live in Sydney.
No, that's right.
It's like Day of the Dead over there, trying to fucking get out.
Who?
It was all fine back when it was just Bondi. When it was just COVID in Bondi, everything's normal. As soon as some of the people catching COVID, the skin tone started to darken off a little bit, then it was fucking everyone needs to stay home.
I'm not part of that conversation.
But that's what it was. It was when COVID started spreading to the poorer suburbs is when they really started cracking down on it. When it was rich people, when it was in your Chardonnay eastern suburbs, no one was like, it's okay, it's only a few cases, let's not worry about it. You can't tell me it wasn't socially, economically motivated, the lockdowns.
Well, it hasn't worked.
Of course, no, it hasn't worked because it was too little too late.
Nearly 300 today, apparently.
Is that right?
293.
I'm just sitting here.
What? Why boo me? I'm right. What's that black guy that does that mean? Why are you booing? I'm right.
I don't know, man. I'm just saying. I'm just sitting here. Whatever your statement is on that, that's great. That's your statement. Beating firearms.
What do you reckon was the motivation for the lockdown then? What do you reckon? They hit some critical mass? Fuck off. While rich people were getting sick, it was fine. Everyone just go about your business.
Yeah, well, no, they locked down suburbs. There were suburbs that went into lockdown.
Not until it started getting into
No, but Bondi
the
was
western
locked
suburbs.
down. No, Bondi was locked down.
Not initially, it wasn't. And
Well,
ScoMo actually said it was a fucking brilliant idea that she set the gold standard in not locking down people.
Cool. Thanks, man.
That's what happened.
We're not arguing.
That's why ScoMo's in so much shit at the moment.
I don't give a fuck.
It's going over the great bloke.
In actual fact, I think anywhere past, east of the fucking West Australian border can all get locked down. I don't give a fuck about any of them guns. They're not even really Australian, if you ask me.
I think they'd argue that we're not Australian.
It's in our title.
We're like Eastern India.
It's
East India.
in our title. Western Australian. Northern Territory, not there. South Australian, well, we don't trust them. Victorian, there's no
I trust
Australian
South
there.
Australians, they make good wine.
New South Wales, there's no fucking Australian there, if you ask me. Queenslanders,
Yeah, New South Wales is a long way south from Wales, isn't it?
that's right. Tasmania, doesn't even exist.
Where does Tasmania even get its name from?
Ah, it was the shape of it.
From the Tasmanian devil.
That was the shape. No,
I thought it was a Tassie tiger that got its name
it
from.
might have been
Yeah.
that. That's because it looks like the map of Tassie. It's full of cunts.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's weird. Because everyone else gets their name from, like, Queensland gets its name from the Queen, Victoria gets its name from the Queen, New South Wales gets its name from Wales, Western Australia gets its name because we're just the West.
Yeah, because that's where we were.
Tasmania. What's Tasmania named after?
I mean, it's obviously got to be a person.
I thought you'd know something. about
Yeah, I thought it was easy
I mean, there's the Tasman Sea. There's got to be a name somewhere.
Yeah, from Tasman.
Abel Tasman.
that. Fuck's Abel Tasman.
He's a
He was on the boat.
What boat?
The boat that discovered Australia.
When?
Yeah, he
October.
Oh, the boat that white man discovered Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, what was it discovered before then?
Yeah.
Was it in a book?
Was it in a book? Is this like, did they put a flag in? Was there a flag in there? I named this place Australia for us. You can't do that. We've been here for 10,000 years. Do you have a flag?
I'm going to point out something to you, then, right? You came out the other day and you went, look what I found. And you had whatever you'd found. It wasn't lost, cunt. I knew where it was. So therefore you didn't discover
What
it.
was it?
I can't remember, but it was like, You come out.
You wasn't lost. I just don't remember what it is. That's another form of lost. Like I forgot where it was. You forgot what it is.
I'll make it up. It was a muzzle brake. I knew where it was. You come out.
What?
What's that like? Don't know. You're like, oh, look what I found. And I was like, it wasn't lost, man. Well, I discovered it. Oh yeah, we got people saying that too.
Yeah, I emailed that out. Actually, fuck. One of the guys can't download it. I've got to print something out and send it to him. I'll get a proper printable thing.
What is it? You want to talk about it?
That is the petition on the unfair and unjust increase.
The chair of
in
the Shooters,
prices.
Fishers and Farmers Party has put out a petition in relation to the increase in firearm licensing fees, which we've spoken about in the past. Yeah. So, and this petition is going to be directed towards the Legislative Council, Minister for Police, Papalia. And yeah, so anyone who's pissed off about the fees, which includes us, should sign it. And everyone should sign it because it's really, we were fed a load of shit, is basically what it is. Back under the previous administration, under Lisa Harvey, she increased the fees. She moved licensing to a cost recovery scheme. And the increase in fees was dramatic. You know, we're talking about, what, 6 years ago?
9 years ago.
9 years ago. Was it that long? Fuck.
Yeah.
There was a huge increase in fees. And they said they had to do that to recover the costs. And then it slowly increased, just a little bit. And then in the last year, some of the fees have gone up 130%. Application fees have gone up like 28% or something silly. Like it's a huge jump. And we've asked them why, and they've said, well, it's cost recovery. Bullshit. It went to cost recovery 8 years ago. You can't tell me that in the last year, it wasn't in cost recovery before. I mean, that's what they're saying, that it wasn't cost recovery last year, and now they're moving to cost recovery. Bullshit. They did that 8 years ago. The other argument that they could possibly put forward is that it's gotten that much more expensive in the last year to process a license. That warrants putting up a dealer's license 130% to process dealer's licenses. No, the only reason it could be even that much more expensive to process a dealer's license is because licensing has gotten that much less efficient. It's the only way it could cost more, isn't it? Because they're doing the same job they were doing 12 months ago. It's not like there's any additional requirements on dealers or any additional requirements. It's not like you're using a different application form. They're wanting more info. It's not like the process for processing a license is any different than it was 12 months ago.
No.
It's just they've gotten, the only other argument is that they've gotten more shit at it in the last 12 months.
This is true. Going back to our previous statement, Jason reckons in 1559 an Italian bloke discovered the clitoris. It's a lie, mate. They're not real.
Discovered it. Yeah, okay. Is there anything else on there worth noting? Ross Taylor's watching. Hey, Ross.
Thanks, Ross. That and an 8-week wait on additionals, yeah.
A few guys
Hey,
online,
Jace.
though, a few guys I've heard online have gotten applications back in like 5 days, 10 days.
We had
I think the key is to make sure that you do all your paperwork 100% correct. Because if they have to go and look for anything or whatnot, or give you a ring or send you an email, it's going to drag everything out.
Mr. Aylmore.
But they also probably just do it in batches, and you just happen to get in at the right time.
Yeah, well, I think that's sometimes the thing. No, there's nothing really else on there. They reckon send one pistol on a pallet.
Yeah. Pay $850. Dangerous goods fee plus the freight.
Fuck off, Simon.
What?
He had an addition approved in 5 business days.
Who?
Simon.
Oh.
Freeway. Fuck you. Why do you always win, you bastard?
You know what it is.
Hey, Gary. How are you, mate? Yeah, he's obviously...
Who? Simon.
Yeah, he's knocking off someone at police licence.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
He's really good at sucking toes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, he's from... I was going to say the name of the shop. I won't say the name of the shop. He's from Kalgoorlie.
Well, fuck it, you'd
imagine with
an abundance of gun shops in, yeah.
With their lacquer toast, they're really good at sucking on toes.
He includes armpit pictures in his application.
Yeah.
To try and get them through faster.
His finger in his belly button pictures.
Yeah. His naked photos we won't put up on a chair photos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about photos.
Wasn't up on a chair either. That was the worst part. I was on a bed.
The new rendering procedures, have you read that?
Yeah, the new rendering procedures are exactly like the old ones, only now we have to send photos in once we've done it.
Oh,
And wait for the police to issue a certification number.
Yeah, that's right.
So
you need to prove to us that you can render a firearm to these specifications, or we're not going to give you a manufacturer's license. Okay, now that you've got your manufacturer's license, we still don't trust you to do your job to the specifications that we certified you to when you did your manufacturer's test. So now you have to send in photographs because we know what's wrong.
So how's about I take the photos and I make them gigapixel size photos?
Yeah, no.
Absolutely clog up their machines with these photos.
Or we could just print them out on like A0 paper and send it in.
Why don't you just speak English? You know, some of us don't.
What's giga? Giga is a million, is it? No.
It's 1,000 times mega.
Oh yeah, well that cleared it fucking right up.
Well,
Cheers.
mega's 1,000, isn't it?
Megas are millions, a gigas are... Yeah.
So it's 1,000 times a mega. And what's a mega? Well, that's 100 times a trigger. And what's a trigger? Well, that's 6 times fucking normal pixel, mate. Keep up.
1,000 times.
What the fuck? English.
Anyway,
Make 1,000 times bigger than they
just
need to be.
another example of the coppers don't trust dealers or repairers or manufacturers.
Well, can we just zoom in on Bill for a second?
Why?
Do you trust this man?
Yeah. I think that's a huge issue, and it's something that I touched on when I spoke to the journalists who wanted to speak to us about our experiences with the police. One of the biggest problems that we've had in the last 10 years is a massive erosion of the trust between the industry and firearms licensing itself. Because it wasn't an issue 10 years ago, you know.
No.
Does it coincide with you coming through the industry and poking?
No, because I was in the industry for 10 years by that stage. And to think that I didn't have arguments with the personalities that were there prior to the current, because we've had quite a few people go through licensing in the last 10 years.
I think with your personality, you'd have arguments with you.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I've been in the industry for almost 20 years now. And until the new licensing regime and everything came in, and the staff that were at licensing moved on, and the new guys came in, prior to that, no issues.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Yeah? And the new guys come in and...
They knew how to run it better.
But it's been 10 years as well, and there's been a lot of staff through licensing.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe it's not the staff, maybe it's the culture. But there's been a huge erosion of the trust between the firearms industry and the government, the body that regulates it.
And I don't know why there should be, because there's been...
Well, the funny thing like that we're saying is the guys and girls at the bottom that do the work, there's no trust issues there.
No.
You know, we got on quite well with them. It's
a good working relationship.
Yeah, it's the people above them.
I would say it's in middle management and the coppers.
And what would their reason be? Why would you go from a self-regulating rendering procedure to now us having to prove? What's the argument for us having to prove?
And what will they be able to tell from the bloody photos?
But what would their intent be? Because we've just been told this is what's happening. We haven't been told the intent. We haven't been told what their thoughts are, why they're doing this. What I would presume would be their argument would be we've had licensed manufacturers not rendering guns correctly and then getting turned back into guns. So we want to regulate this harder. And their solution for that is to really micromanage the industry.
Yeah. And they have absolutely no fucking clue on how to run a business.
Well, it's not only that. I mean, they're not. I really don't think that they're the best people to be viewing this. I think ballistics would be a better department to view this sort of stuff. I don't think they've got the personnel to do it, because it's not as if they're terribly efficient at what they're doing now. I think it's a huge waste of resources, and I think they're going about it the wrong way. If you've got individuals who are doing the wrong thing, you don't need to manage everyone better. You need a bigger stick to hit the people that do the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? An example of that is a lady who was out at Kalgoorlie. She got busted because her son was, or child, I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, was sitting on the bed watching TV, and there was a gun on the bed. It was unsecured. She'd been out shooting the night before or something, came back and just chucked it on the bed. The next morning it was still on the bed. The kid was watching TV. And she went to court over it, as she should have, because that's a huge violation.
Stupid.
That's a serious violation. She got a $100 fine and kept her licence. So, and I know that's out of the police's hands. That is the judiciary's responsibility to try and not just mitigate that from happening again, but mitigate everyone who's got a firearms licence from doing it and taking it more seriously. How can people take the laws seriously when those sorts of things are handed out? And I know I don't know all about the case, and there might be other mitigating circumstances, but regardless, there isn't a big enough stick preventing the people who want to do the wrong thing from doing the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? If you're a firearms manufacturer and the penalty for fucking up is you lose your licenses and you go to jail for 5 years, a lot less people are probably inclined to do something like that. An example is what me and Brian were talking about earlier in the week. There was and I don't know, I'm not going to tell the story because I don't know the context correctly, but it was essentially, no, I like the story. Essentially, a judge wasn't doing his job properly, and the king was tired of him. This is a couple of thousand years ago. The king was tired of his shit. The judge was making really poor judgments and whatnot, and so he had him scun alive and had a chair made out of him. And if all the judges, when they were making decisions, had to sit in that chair to make the decision. So it was a reminder that you either take your job seriously, like you had to sit in a chair that was made out of someone that had been scun for not doing their job seriously. So take your job seriously. And that's the thing. I think if people were made to take their responsibility more seriously, because the ramifications for not doing it were more serious, I think that's a far better way of regulating the industry. But you can't tell Quincy that because he fucking doesn't want to hear it. I've emailed him and he's like, oh, no, don't care.
Just an interesting thing that I spoke to Craig about today was we were talking about the new rendering procedures. Craig said they've started epoxying the stocks onto the guns when they put them back together. Put epoxy in the barrel channel and glue them on, so if people want to even get the stock off, they're going to ruin it.
It's just a stock though, that's not a regulated part.
No, I know, but
you just buy one from over each. You just smash that one off.
Yeah. But
if you had another gun that wasn't you got this unlicensed gun, you needed some parts, so you bought this fucking rendered gun, got the bits out of it you want, you need a stock, or you get parts out of somewhere else to get this one going, and you need a stock. You just smash it off and buy one from over each.
Yeah, perhaps. I'd be surprised if anyone could get any of our guns going at
No, we've always taken it very seriously,
yeah.
The rendering process, in that we've always worked under the theory that not only does this gun need to never work again, but no part out of the rendered gun could be used to get another gun going.
Yeah. It might be screws or something you can take out of it.
But you can get them from Coventry,
Yeah.
you can get them from Searles or something like that.
Yeah.
Or make them yourself, they're not hard. But every major part, like the bolt head on 303, no one could make one of them. Well, obviously someone could make one of them, but no one would make one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's the part that needs to be fucked up,
Yeah.
not the screw that holds the stock on.
No, that's right. But as Craig was saying though, that if there's someone smart enough to get a rendered firearm and get it going again, he's probably got all the machinery he needs to make a firearm from scratch anyway.
Yeah, well, that's and in the day of age of I got messaged by a client who made a stock on his
3D
3D printer.
On his free pistol.
3D printer.
Oh, yeah.
So he bought a 3D printer. I don't know how expensive it was, but he made his own stock. He asked me the legalities of it. There's not really any legalities. He's got a licensed rifle.
I hope he made it a bit better than that handlebars on that bloody Paul. Pursuit rider's bike the other night.
Who's watching the Olympics at the moment anyway? Because I didn't even know it was on until. You're watching the Olympics.
I watched a bit of it, not much.
Yeah.
But that was a spectacular fall though that bloke had. He couldn't have done it better if he tried.
Took out his skin off.
Yeah.
He took it.
But the look on his face as well, it's like, he's like, it wasn't even his own fault, it just, shit happens and he's fucked everyone.
Well, the worst thing about when you come off on the velodrome too, is you scab up pretty well, but it's not because it's a rough surface. Problem is you fall off on it, and at that speed you burn the skin off.
I think that's what happens.
Yeah, the actual burn.
It doesn't matter where you fall off, you end up in the gutter anyway.
Yeah, because it's wood.
You go a skid for a while.
You're riding around on wood.
Yeah.
And and it's steeper than it looks.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty steep. But
well, you only got to look at a fall hit every now and then when they come off and see how they tumble and bloody.
Yep.
They end up in the gutter though, so they've got a fair way to run, a fair way to fall.
How do we do on the shoot?
Don't know, they wouldn't televise
the attention.
Not very flash.
Don't know,
We didn't do that great.
Repicoli.
I mean, we don't normally do great anyway in shooting.
No,
Like in shotgun shooting we do, but not in pistols.
Shotgun, one of the girls came in fourth. She just missed out on a bronze by one target. Repicoli in free pistol was 30.
Yep.
I don't know how many were competing.
But there was probably only 5 points between one and
most likely, yeah. But then he got into the rapid fire final, I think.
Oh, good on him.
But he came out ninth or something.
Yeah.
You know? So
Still ninth in the world.
yeah, that's not bad.
It's not something to be fucking.
better than 10th.
But actually, what they were saying today, one of our decathlon competitor came in and got a bronze, and someone said in decathlon that means he's the third toughest, best athlete in the world, really, because he's competed in 10 events and come in third.
What are the events in decathlon?
10
Running, swimming,
jumping, throwing.
Probably hurdles, or there is hurdles. Shooting's in it.
Discus and shooting.
I think so.
yeah, I know there's a lot of field events, like there was discus. Was javelin part of it?
I think so, something like that.
And like
I think all the field events. That's right. Yeah.
Long
chase
jump.
a wheel
Yeah.
down a hill or something.
It's all that sort of stuff. I think I was saying he's the first Australian to win a medal in that particular event since 1956 or whatever it was.
Yeah, right.
So,
I think since the modern Olympics started, 1908. Yeah.
is it?
I think
Pretty sure.
I think we've actually done pretty well. What are we, fourth or fifth on?
I think it was fifth, fourth.
at the moment.
We've currently got the oldest medalist. He's 65 years old.
And equestrian.
Equestrian.
Yeah.
Andrew Boy,
That was impressive.
He's apparently aiming for the 2032 Olympics.
Yeah. And he'll probably
How old will he be in 2032 though?
10 years older than he is now, or 11 years older, so he'll be 76.
Yeah, right.
But he'll probably still be riding. You know, you don't just stop doing that.
I'm not even 40 and I can't
Well,
walk.
you stop pretty hard when you come off a horse.
Depends what you hit, I suppose.
No, it doesn't matter what the horse. You're bloody a couple of metres off the ground and get kicked off.
Hit a mattress, so it's much nicer than hitting the concrete.
I don't think they run around on mattresses in equestrian.
I'm just putting it out there, mine.
Maybe they just have, instead of having lots of mattresses, they just have one person with a mattress chase you,
No.
and you got to fall on the person.
Maybe they just suspend him from the top of the roof.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's just floating around on the horse.
Alright, we're going home or?
Yeah.
Cool, let's call
What else can we start a fight about?
Nothing, because it's 6:45.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right then.
Alright, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Me and Ross on tomorrow, so
Yes.
give me a half a break. I'm limping around like a fucking cripple. So yeah, be gentle. See you then. Thanks very much. Have a good weekend.